Lawyers don't really like people who aren't lawyers.
We had some people laughing at us down the phone. You know, you hear these jokers.
How did that make you feel?
Motivated. What scares me is not taking this risk. You don't regret what you do, you regret what you don't do. I remember walking into interviews, believing I had the job before I even stepped into the room. Things were just coming true. And
you've gone from basically a nobody in the legal industry to the CEO of Legal Tech Talk.
We've created somewhere where you can't not be at. It will become not just the biggest legal tech show, but the biggest legal industry show in the world. We're still getting started.
Seven years ago, Bradley Collins wrote down his vision. Everything came true. From council estate kid to CEO, from outsider to unstoppable legal industry disruptor. This episode is a masterclass in how you turn rejection into rocket fuel, ambition into inevitability, and build something truly monumental. And according to Bradley, he's still just getting started. The crazy thing about your journey is that you broke into law when you had absolutely no background in it before. And I hate to say it, but this is true. Lawyers don't really like people who aren't lawyers. Lawyers don't really trust them, let alone for someone to come in and completely disrupt the industry. How was it for you starting Legal Tech Talk and breaking into this?
I remember when I was trying to raise some money at the beginning. We didn't raise much, so we had to bootstrap most of the way. But being in the insurance sector before, it's like, no, you need to stick in insurance. You know everyone in insurance, and it's crazy for you to leave that. It's like, well, actually, no, we're good event people. We're good at media. We're good at marketing. We know what we're good at. It's insurance. Being in insurance was irrelevant. We've got a blueprint for building events, and I believe that we could do this again in another industry in the same way if we decided to in the future. But I didn't realize quite how hard it would be to, legal was particularly challenging, and we had to be humble. You know, in other industries, you can, we're going to be the biggest in the world, and people didn't like that. They didn't receive it very well. So we had to do the things that can make us the biggest in the world with being a bit humble about it and the way we approached it. It was tricky. We had to be tenacious, but once you get some early believers, you then get followers, and social proof is really important. You know, getting important people to believe in you and put their name to what you're doing. And so many of, like, let's say our sponsors, when you get one or two of our competitors, then we'll sponsor. And there are other competitors who are saying that. It's like, okay, one of you has to go first and the other ones are going to come. Anyway, we've managed to overcome that hurdle. And when you overcome it, it's great. Things start rolling. It's like a snowball effect. And I think that's how we got off the ground really quickly, you know, just covering the market, speaking to everyone, just telling everyone this is going to be the biggest event ever.
And I feel like lawyers can learn a lot from this, because a lot of them struggle to put themselves out there. A lot of them struggle to build their businesses within law. How did you, on a practical level, even go about this?
Tell my secrets.
Yeah, I want all your secrets, all of them, please. This isn't, it's fine, we can go offline.
Yeah, I don't know how much I want to share, but let's say marketing automation and a personal outreach at scale.
There are definitely some secrets here, aren't there?
Personalized outreach at scale.
Personalized outreach at scale. So there's something about actually putting yourself out there, really reaching out to people and getting those conversations.
One-on-one, but at scale. But you've got to do that at scale, and then you start activating other people's networks. You know, you're telling your friends about it or messaging people. And if you can do that, you get this big network effect. You have to get critical mass for that to work, where everybody's talking about it. It's not easy.
So you need everyone talking about it, and you need one hell of a lot of FOMO. You want to get people's competitors on there to say, well, they're doing it, so you should be doing it.
Yeah. It's funny, like I don't think we had a single managing partner, maybe one on our first event, David from Shoesmith. But at the next event, when we had 3 or 4 managing partners, then all of a sudden we've got people saying, hey, can my managing partner speak at your event? But yeah, you create that FOMO. We've created somewhere where you can't not be at, I think, because everybody else is there. I remember speaking to someone from one of the big 4 in the fintech industry about going to this big event in Vegas, Money 2020. He said every year, I hate Vegas. I hate going. Don't want to go. But every year before the event, 30 people, 40 people reach out to me saying, hey, are you going to be at this event? After a while, you kind of think, I have to be there. You know, everyone is there. And that's the sort of position that we've tried to create.
And so how did you get people to trust you in those early stages when they didn't know who you were?
I think track record is important. So anyone like launching anything in the legal sector, they want to believe in the founders, believe in the story, believe in what you've done before, believe in the mission of what you're doing. Why are we doing it? You know, we want to create a positive impact for the industry. Have we done this before? Yes. Me and my founder, we met each other. You know, we was employees number 1 and 4 in a company that built the biggest event in Europe, Asia, and the second biggest show in America, which is still growing, which is now part of one of the biggest event groups in the world. You know, that's been very successful. So the combination of like, are we doing good? Are we trying to do good for the industry? And have we done this before? You get those early believers. And then the people that didn't believe us, like John Bartman, who's now a big believer, you know, he would openly admit, he thought, who are these guys? And many people did. We had some people laughing at us down the phone. Who are these jokers? You're not from the legal industry. You're claiming to be building the biggest thing in the industry.
How did that make you feel?
Motivated. Yeah. It just adds fuel to the fire, right? The more people sort of try and, or don't believe you, the more you're motivated to do it.
So rejection fuels you?
It's one of the fuels, I think. Rejection fuels you. People believing in you fuels you. People that have invested in you fuels you. I think, yeah, you got to get fuel from multiple places.
So that's one hell of a really resilient mindset you've got there, because whether it's rejection, whether it's someone funding you, whether it's someone telling you you've done a great job, it doesn't really matter to you because you're using it all as fuel. And you've gone from basically a nobody in the legal industry to the CEO of Legal Tech Talk, which is currently the biggest legal tech event in Europe, soon to be potentially the biggest legal tech event in the world in 2026. Your mindset must be made of steel.
I'm flattered. Thank you. And I think, yeah, it'll become not just the biggest legal tech show, but the biggest legal industry show in the world. Because, yeah, and we want to be broader than just tech, and we want to focus on broader innovation and change. We talk about diversity and access to justice. It's about positive change in general, and technology is part of it. Maybe Legal Tech Talk will become Legal Talk someday. You know, I feel like that's really what the brand is. But yeah, you have to, in terms of mindset, you have to be resilient. You have to be tenacious. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have the right people around you. You have to understand your weaknesses, and then get those people to buy in to what you're trying to do. And you have to be brave. Like, you have to take risks. Whilst nobody in the legal industry knew who I was, people in the event industry knew who I was, and people in the insurance industry, you know, knew who I was, and they were watching. So I sort of put it all on the line, and you got to take that leap. If you don't take the leap, you'll never know. My old CEO said, "What are you scared about?" Like, and I just remember feeling, and I probably shouldn't say this. What scares me is not taking this risk. What scares me is not taking this risk. Not taking this opportunity. The time is now. I found an industry sector. That's a difficult thing to do. The time is now in this space. I've got the right people around me that I believe we can do this with. If I look back in 30 years and think I didn't do that, that scares me far more than taking the risk in doing it.
Why does that regret scare you?
You don't regret what you do. You regret what you don't do, I think, or what you don't try and do. Like, I could lose this all. It's fine. My uncle will put me up in his spare room. I'll start again. I'll eat beans on toast. It's fine. But not trying to do something, you know, great that can have a big impact that you can be proud of when you have the opportunity to do it. You know, I don't have children yet. Like, I mean, the time is now for me to take this risk. I can lose it all and it'll be fine.
And you've told me before that your mum has been a really key influence in your life in terms of the person you've become, your mindset, your confidence. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
She just was proud of a little kid. You know, she always say I was good looking. So then I thought I was good looking. I was really goofy at school, but I still thought I was good looking. I was her only son for quite a few years until my sister came along later down the line. So she sort of cherished me, gave me confidence. And yeah, I think that's super important. Like, we didn't have much, but having someone that believed in you, it goes a long way. And any parent out there or soon to be parent, just if you can give your children confidence, it means a lot. More than money, more than anything, more than taking them on school trips, getting them branded clothes, you know, giving them love and confidence. I think it's really powerful.
And how did that shape you, being given that love and confidence?
Confidence is so important, and knowing that you've got that love there, I think is so important. You know, you can take those risks. You've got something to fall back on. You've got people there that care about you. You've got fallback. Yeah, I think it's incredibly important in general. It's hard to explain, but I had friends who had what I perceived to be everything. A nice big house, and I had a single mum at the time. They had a mum and a dad, but behind the scenes, maybe they were arguing or whatever. When they got divorced eventually, then that impacted my friend massively. He had quite a cushy life, I thought, for many years, and then something bad happens, it's like the end of the world. Whereas when you've already experienced like a lot of hardship and stuff, like I think things phase you far less when things happen. I've got a friend now who's my age, in mid-30s, who's got some family issues, probably for the first time ever, really struggling to deal with it. And it's like, I guess it adds a sort of bulletproof layer when shit has happened in your life. I wouldn't change anything.
And I totally hear what you're saying, because I grew up in a background where my parents were very supportive and they were really supportive of my education, but I didn't come from money and I didn't come from privilege. I know that when I stepped into the legal world, that was a huge shock for me. I had a massive confidence crisis around that because I just didn't recognize the place, the glass buildings, the rich people, the people from Eton, the people who were a million times posher than me. And I think one of the things I really respect about you is, I know you told me before that you've had to really earn your way to where you are now, that actually you started out on a council estate, your mum was a single mum doing everything she could for you, but you've absolutely created your own success.
Yeah, and I think I've not been in any industries where there's maybe this like, oh, you didn't go to a fancy uni, you don't fit in, you don't belong here. And I haven't really felt that in the legal industry. I think it definitely, from what I hear, has been like that historically. I feel like that will evolve as well in time, with innovation as tech people in jeans and T-shirts and hats walking into law firms like it's normal now. I feel like the legal industry maybe will change, and hopefully we can be part of driving that change. We've partnered with social mobility charities that help drive, unprivileged people into the industry, for example. I feel like I've had success elsewhere, which I had to build. That was hard work, but I carried that into the legal industry. And because I've succeeded in other industries, and I didn't feel it personally, I just feel like I can talk to anyone. I've always sort of felt like I can talk to anyone, no matter who you are. I had friends in lots of different types of groups, and there are some that are doing very well, some that are a bit more fancy and privileged, some that are not. And so yeah, I didn't feel that too much personally coming into the space.
I think it is impressive though that you have built that success yourself. You didn't sort of grow up with that silver spoon, or you haven't had somebody who's just given you a whole load of money to just go and found something yourself.
I would be the worst.
Why is that?
If I had everything, I definitely wouldn't have the same motivation, and I definitely wouldn't be doing what I do. I think chasing something, I'm actually worried about getting too successful. It's like, what am I going to chase? I need always to have a goal and something to chase. So I'm spending time thinking about that now. Like, what if I get as successful as I ever wanted to be? What do I do then? It's an interesting thought. You have Olympians that work their entire life to win a gold medal, and they've won it, and they're like, they get 2 seconds of joy, and then they're like, now what?
Just pausing for a second to ask a small favour. This is a brand new podcast, and every follow, review, or share helps more than you know. It means I can create more episodes, bring on more top guests and thought leaders, and share the secret lessons and tools that help you build influence, find purpose, and create a career and life you actually jump out of bed for. If that speaks to you, please hit subscribe. It really does make a difference. Now, back to the episode.
So what does a happy life look like for you then?
Now you're getting deep.
Sorry, I should have warned you about this. It's going to get deep. It's going to get deep.
I've made a real effort to work as hard as I can at a young age so I can live comfortably later on. So at some point I will want to settle down, get married, have children, have free time that I can spend with them, and nurture the next generation of Collinses. So that excites me. But I always need something to be working on. This won't be my last business, that's for sure. And we're not done with this business yet. There's still a lot of stuff that we want to do here. I always need to be striving to do something, have a purpose, something to chase. And I think the next business, it will be less about trying to make money with the business and more about just proving to myself that we can do this again and again if we wanted to. So I think, maybe I have more free time to do stuff like learn a language. learn to play some instruments. And I think you've always got to be evolving and progressing. And I think you always need a purpose. I think that's the most important thing. Purpose, something, a goal, family and friends who care about you and you care about them and you add value to each other's lives and you can spend time with them and your family. Staying healthy, exercising. I have not managed to do that much in the last few weeks. I've been traveling a bit. Yeah, what else is there? Eating good food.
I relate to this so much because I think, in my opinion, I feel like our happiness in this life actually does depend on this sense of purpose. And I see it a lot in people I coach. They come to me and they're not happy. They're unbalanced. Maybe they're working too much, or they're working on the wrong things, or they're not working on things that excite them. Maybe they're surrounded by the wrong people. Maybe they're not spending enough time with their families. And I feel like us actually taking this step back and being like, this is what's meaningful for me. I want to leave a mark on the world I can be proud of in alignment with my values. And the rest of my life is looking a way that feels really, really good to me. Like, this is so important. And what I often get people to do, and this may sound woo-woo, but it is so, so powerful, is actually to create a vision board. Is to create a vision board of what you want your life to look like. You want that big corner office. You want a family that looks like that. You want that husband or that wife. You want that family holiday. See it for yourself.
I've done that a few times.
Yeah?
Yeah. When I used to live with my housemate in Tottenham. He cuts the hair at our event, Andrew, so you can ask him about it.
I love him. He was so nice.
He's cool, hey? So we used to live in the same house. And after a couple of whiskeys, we'd be like, right. We both wrote down our visions and they both come true.
Right.
So he wanted to win. And I used to convince him to. I read The Secret, Positive Mindset. And you got a vision, envisage what it is you want and write it down. And actually, I found a piece of paper in an old work bag as I was moving apartments very recently. And this piece of paper fell out. And it was the things I wrote down. Every single thing came true. This was like 7 years ago or something. It was, I wanted to live somewhere facing and I forgot about everything I wrote down. It was just one night writing it down. Yeah. I want to start my own business that does X, Y, and Z. Like I was looking at it, it's like, wow, everything has just happened. And it's very powerful to just know what it is that you want. Because to get there, you have to think about it. We have to sit there for hours and think, what is it that we really want?
And what were the things on there that you achieved that at the time probably felt completely...
All the things we're doing now. It was I was at the beginning of working in another startup at the time. So this was a million miles away. There were some objectives in that startup and what that did. I can't remember all the things on it now, but it's really powerful. I was listening to, I think it was a podcast yesterday or a clip with Jim Carrey. He was pretty much homeless, living in a camper van at one point. He wrote himself a check for $10 million. He dated it for 5 years' time, so there was a date on it. For acting services rendered, at the time he was doing comedian stuff, wasn't doing any acting work whatsoever. Just about the date that he wrote himself the check. It was in his wallet, so he could see it every day, getting rusty. Then he got, in 1 year, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, some other film, whatever ridiculous year he had. And it came true.
And when did you read The Secret? When did you start doing this kind of visualization, manifestation?
I was in my friend's place. He had the book open on his kitchen counter or something, and it had one page which just hooked me straight away. And it was in bold letters, ask, and then a lot of text next to it, believe, receive. And I read that one. That one page was enough. I didn't need to read the rest of the book.
So you actually haven't read The Secret?
I did read it. It was actually a teenage version of the book. It was easier to read. I don't like reading books that much. I never get to the end of them. But this one was really powerful. Yeah, and it was. I read each chapter and started practicing each chapter before I read the next one. So I was really absorbing it, writing stuff down, and trying to really like live by it. And from that age onwards, I remember walking into interviews, believing I had the job before I even stepped into the room. Things were just coming true, and sometimes you forget about it, and you have to remind yourself of the positive thing. You attract what you think about, and that's good and bad. If you think bad things, you attract bad things. If you think your partner's going to cheat on you, they probably will. If you keep thinking about it and you keep being paranoid about it. If you think that people are going to be good to you, they probably will. The energy you give comes back to you. So it's important that you think good things.
I completely agree with that. I believe that energy follows thought. I think what we think is so, so important. So if you're sitting there in a negative mindset, if you're sitting there in a victim mindset, thinking life can't be any different for me, or I hate my job, well, you're going to hate your job then. Nothing good's going to come of that. And I feel like if people realise this a bit more, they'd actually be able to achieve a lot more and feel a lot happier.
Yeah. If you enjoy things, you get good at it, and you can train yourself to enjoy things.
How do you do that?
I don't know. I don't know how to articulate it, but you can't, like, you know, when these boxers are training for fights, they don't enjoy training. I don't think footballers enjoy getting up every morning to train, but they force themselves to enjoy it. So you just find ways to enjoy it and make it fun. And, you know, maybe they're running around the football court, it's snowing, it's freezing cold, it's raining, so they crack a joke. You just find ways to enjoy it. Not easy, but it helps.
This reminds me of a conversation I had with somebody when I absolutely hated law. So I was about probably 3 years from the end. And honestly, at that point, I really hated what I was doing. I wasn't particularly enjoying the team I was in. And I guess I was feeling pretty negative. And I spoke to this woman and she said to me, you have to start finding the love in every day. Even if it's one thing an hour, even if it's that you liked your cup of tea or you like the shoes you're wearing or you like that particular colleague or you had a nice conversation in the kitchen. And she was saying then, which I found absolutely dreadful, but which 100% worked, I had to start becoming grateful for those things. And that is what totally started transforming my energy, my mindset. And that's when my life really started to take off in law and outside of law.
100%. Don't know if it's part of this book or another one, but gratitude, knowing what you're grateful for is so important, and you attract more of those things. If you realize you're grateful for something, you attract it. People around you realize that you really like that tea. The next day, someone's going to make you a cup of tea because they know it makes you happy. Yeah, write down your vision board and write down what you're grateful for as much as you can. I don't write down what I'm grateful for, but I'm generally quite grateful. So if you struggle with it, write it down.
I went proper Bali on the whole gratitude thing when I was there the last few months because I had a few Balinese friends and they said to me, Helen, not only do you need to be grateful, you need to make an offering whilst you're being grateful. Okay. So they said you can offer anything. It has to essentially come from the earth. So it could be coffee. It could even be tequila. You can offer whatever you want, but you put it out there. You stand there, you be grateful. Each morning you give it a couple of minutes and maybe it's just psychological, but I really started to feel good in my life. I started to feel good after those moments of actually deliberately stopping, feeling that gratitude, and hopefully the gods enjoyed my tequila.
What were one of the things you were grateful for?
I was so grateful, and still am, that I managed to create a life where I can live in Bali, run a business that I enjoy every single day, work with people who I absolutely love, and have enough money to do that. Honestly, I cannot tell you how grateful I am for that, because I put all of that on a vision board 4 years ago and I never thought any of that would happen for me. And it's come true. And I can't be more grateful than that.
It'll make you happy to feel that.
And I get to meet you when you're in Bali too. Yeah. We had a few beers. We had a good time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I could be tempted to live that lifestyle as well. I mean, if you can make half decent money and you can live like a king or a queen in Bali, I could be tempted to, I don't know, I was going to say hang up the boots and just go live in Bali. I don't want to hang up the boots.
I feel like maybe you'd do what Dan Hobson does, which is he's Bali based. He's head of Asia for VLEX, and he's always flying off all over the place to, I don't know, Japan or Hong Kong or Singapore, but Bali's the base. And that seems to work well, and I think that's pretty cool.
It is. It's. I couldn't live there full time, but I would love to live a life where, you know, like a few months a year in the cold months of England. It's freezing today.
Absolutely freezing. It's horrible.
Going somewhere hot for a few months a year wouldn't be bad. And, you know, we can work remotely now. I guess being a lawyer is quite difficult to do that historically, but I think that's going to change. You know, you managing to have a career, you're still in the law space, and you don't have to be fixated to a single point. And these sort of digital native, cloud native law firms that are emerging and being able to work at legal tech companies which are serving clients globally. Yeah, more and more people will be able to start living this sort of more of a free spirit life and be in the space.
And I think that's the crazy thing, isn't it? Because historically, if you ran off to somewhere like Bali, you were either among the hippie crowd or the kind of retired at 40 crowd question what you've done to reach that point. Great if you can. Unfortunately, I'm not quite at retirement point, but these days...
You don't want to retire.
No, I don't think I'll ever retire.
Retiring is boring.
Do you think you'll ever retire?
I think you speed up your death if you retire. Not to be morbid, but like if you're not active, like you don't want to be working hard, laborious jobs in later years. But people are retiring at 60 years old, 65 years old, 70 years old, and they're living past 100 now. What are you doing for 30 years? Just getting old. I think I'd want to keep active mentally somehow. So I don't think I'll ever retire.
For me, it's about connection and giving back as well. Like, I genuinely love coaching. I love it. And I could see myself probably 80 years old. Maybe I'd only have one client or two clients at that point, who knows, in between naps. But it's a passion. It's my sense of purpose. I feel like whatever I'm doing, I would want to continue that in some way. So I'm hearing you feel a bit similar to that.
Yeah. I think the scope of work is going to change at that age, and being able to give back is important. I was thinking how important sport was for me. I was very lucky. I found a tennis coach who didn't charge much because we had no money. And in the second year, he didn't charge anything. And then he paid out of his own money to help me become a tennis coach. And that period of life, I could have gone down the aisles. There's people smoking wacky-backy behind the sheds at school. And even when I was playing tennis, they were doing it on the fields. Like I could have multiple paths I could have taken, and sport was so important. Being a captain of the tennis club, being able to learn leadership skills at a young age, I think that changed the trajectory. And just talking about, what to do, giving back. I was thinking about, do I want to start a charity that helps kids get into sport that couldn't afford it otherwise, and different things. So I think what we do is going to keep changing as we get older, and more meaningful work. Although I feel like what I'm doing right now is meaningful. But yeah, I think keeping active is really important for us and our mental health, and retiring is boring.
I hear you. And coming back to the present moment, where you are with Legal Tech Talk, what are the plans for 2026 and beyond? You mentioned the US, you mentioned expansion. I'm excited. What is all this?
I'm really excited about the next event. It's going to double, our business is doubling year on year from a revenue perspective, which is exciting, but that means we're doing good stuff. It's a sign of like the impact we're creating. The event's going to grow in terms of numbers of people. It'll be one of the biggest events in the world, if not the biggest. 2027, I'm really excited by. We have already signed the venue for 2027. We're having the venue we currently have and another venue that's opposite. So we have multiple venues. So it'll become more of a festival. We can scale it easily to 10,000 people. We have enough space with these two venues.
Is that magazine?
Magazine, in addition to Intercontinental. Again, I haven't told anyone this publicly. And I think people value the fun, the good quality bars. We had the big garden open early, the vineyard. We've got a gin bar. Like, there's more people. There's also non-alcoholic drinks and protein shakes and all sorts of other stuff, and live music. I inquired about this guy that he skateboards with a big boom box. So as you come out the station, you've got this guy singing. I
love that.
People on the team like, that's a bit weird. And then they thought about it. It's like, actually, that could be pretty cool.
Where did you find him?
I don't know. I just come across stuff and think that would be cool. More of that. And I think the quality of the attendees is really important. So it's really tricky to get GCs out. And not many events can get GCs out. I don't think there's any event, maybe ACC, which is very focused on counsel, that gets GCs at scale. You've got events like Economist, maybe there's 300 GCs. We're trying to get thousands. It's not easy to do, but we've got the group GC of companies like Airbnb and Bolt and WPP and like these big FTSE companies now, which is enabling us. We're getting so many amazing applications from in-house people wanting to attend. And by getting them at scale, they have a better time. They can enjoy these intimate workshops and roundtables and smaller things. We're doing the dinner on the boat again and things like that. It just attracts everyone. It means we get the most senior people from the law firms. They have to be there because their clients are in the room. When they say they're going to innovate, they have to do it because they've been held accountable by their clients who are in the room. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot more. It's bigger. It's grandioser. more fun, more high quality people to network with, and it's still just getting started. We're still getting started, which is exciting for me. And in the same year, we're going to be in the US. We've just been and checked out some of the most iconic venues along Miami Beach. I'm going to get in trouble from my team. We'll see what they say. But
Miami Beach, that's just like low key, casual.
Yeah,
you know.
the Fontainebleau. We've got some dates on hold, and like Frank Sinatra used to perform there. Elvis Presley. It's along the beach. You can do a lot of stuff outside. There's a nightclub on prem which we can convert into a big stage. It's incredible, and it can scale quite big. So my goal is, let's say we're talking in 5 years, that the biggest event in the world in the legal space is Legal Tech Talk, and the second biggest event in the world is also Legal Tech Talk. That would be, well, that's what we're working towards.
So that would be like Legal Tech Talk US. Is that how you're kind of seeing that?
I think Legal Tech Talk Miami has a better ring to it.
But then you're stuck in Miami.
No. It'll be a continental. We'll get all of LATAM. We'll get all of the US. Yeah, that's a debate we're having internally right now. But it's we never stick to a region. Like our London event is global. We had people from 75 countries, so we won't have an issue. But yeah, we have to think about how we market it.
I'm really excited for that. It's been a long time since I've been to Miami, but I feel like staying your friend is a good idea, actually, Bradley.
Friends.
Thanks for listening to Lawyer Unleashed and for being a part of this community. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with a friend who you think would benefit. And just FYI, this conversation is off the record.